Hey guys, just wanted to do my quick review of Supergirl Season 2, Episode 10, known as We Can Be Heroes. So the episode starts off with live wires in prison being in a therapy session even and after taunting a therapist, they have a thug disguised as a guard break out at one inmate as well as Livewire. And Supergirl becomes incredibly neurotic at the fact that she's she's busted out and is and I guess considers Livewire her nemesis, which I guess you can say that just because she's had the most reoccurring appearances on the show outside of I guess Maxwell Lord and or at least the or at least had the at least appeared in both had appearances in both season 1 and season 2. And but it kind of just felt like a little bit of a misnomer, and just she was just a nemesis by default, just because, like, it's of the recurring appearances, and it always, even though season one's always portrayed her as having more beef with Cat Grant than Supergirl, but again, because Callista Flockhart's left the show, and the reason she's the nemesis by default. Um, Supergirl has been training with Mon-El, and she feels like he's progressed enough in his training to accompany her along on trying to capture her. And she tells him that, and she tells Mon-El, protect the cops, focus on protecting the cops. And and then when they confront Livewire, she says that she's not Leslie, and then they're ambushed but you later found out that she was actually one of the inmates with Livewire's powers, and the fake guard also has Livewire's powers. So they gang up on Kara, and Mon-El is basically using one of the doors off of the police van to deflect the blast, and the Guardian shows up to try to also protect the cops as well. But because Mon-El gets worried about Kara's well-being, he becomes reckless and accidentally deflects one of the bolts of electricity towards a cop and Guardian, knocking them both out, electrocuting them, and they both and Kara tries to destroy one of the water pipes, but the Livewire soldiers escape, and that's when, going to their aid, that Kara unmasks Guardian as James, and she's notably pissed at him for not only telling him that, but thinking that it's like, oh, Mon-El can be, you're only a human being, you're gonna get yourself killed, and he's not capable of being out in the field just for that reason, even though she's fought with alongside Team Arrow and Team Legend in the crossover, which had badass normals, and it just, and I mean, I felt like it should have been felt it was weird that nobody brought up the fact that she won. She fights with the DEO, and that consists of her sister and regular soldiers, agents, as well as Maggie Sawyer, who's been able to hold her own as well. And granted, you can argue that it's James didn't have the same level of training, which would also be a good reason for being concerned. But I just felt like both sides of that issue weren't brought up, and she just came up, and Carter just came across as really a bit of a jerk, and just saying things like Mon-El is capable of changing and being a better person, when James said that he was just he was a selfish frat boy, and Mon-El can change and James can't, and I didn't even know what the hell that meant. And James was right to call her out, saying, "Who are you to say what I can't do or who I can be?" And Supergirl threatens to stop him if he goes back out into the field again, and James just says she's welcome to try. And so, because of that incident, they find Wynn only tells James that even though he doesn't know the location of Livewire, he secretly does, just so they can both prove to Kara that they're capable of, handling bad guys as well as she can. But of course, Mon-El overhears the same thing and wants to go after Livewire for the same reason. And it turns out that that Livewire was she's not the quote unquote main villain, but she's actually when she was released from jail and surveillance footage was released that she was actually being captured and being held captive by some mad scientist who wanted to siphon off her powers and create this army of super soldiers with the same abilities and then sell them off to the highest bidder. But it turns, who interestingly doesn't get a name, and then when Mon-El and Guardian show up to try to free Livewire, they end up getting ambushed by the scientist because he also has electrokinesis like Livewire, and Livewire's just being snarky the whole time about how they were just incompetent in terms of saving her, and then Wynn has to fess up to Kara about what he did, and then she comes to the rescue and frees Livewire while they fight the Livewire soldiers. And then Livewire wants to get revenge on the scientist who captured her and almost kills her, but Kara convinces her, makes a deal with her, in that she'll let Livewire go and give her a head start, but let her get away and give her as much time as she needs to get away. While basically she says once she takes the scientist to jail and is incarcerated, then she'll go after Livewire, Kara's just taking mercy on her and just letting her go, at least for the time being. So, and also throughout the episode, she has to deal with the fact that, and starts questioning whether or not Mon-El's really doing this for altruistic reasons, or he just wants to be a hero just because he wants to impress Kara. And he later admits in the episode that he finally admits in the episode that he's in love with her, and that he does remember kissing her in the mid-season finale. But he just says he understands that, okay, you don't feel the same way. She doesn't feel the same way, but he still insists that they still work together in spite of that. So it's nice that they're having it more. They're making it's not like a sudden on. They're not flipping a switch. It's not a sudden 180 from one episode to another, in which Mon-El's being gone from being selfish to selfless. This is more of a natural progression. I appreciate that, and apparently, her relationship with James and Wynn are strained because even though she says that she won't stop them from doing what they're doing, she won't support it, and she doesn't want, and they won't, and apparently they're not going to work more closely together as a team. So the relationship is strained. And then there was a nice subplot with Martian Manhunter and Miss Martian, in which she was suffering a psychic attack from White Martian, and then she fell into a coma. But that was because she was trying to protect her mind from the psychic attack, but she got trapped in her own subconscious, I guess, and caused her to start going brain dead. And it kind of, and after a pep talk from Alex, basically Martian Manhunter was able to get past her bias towards White Martians enough to decide to want to help her, and she goes into her Miss Martian's mind. They're both in their human forms at the time, and she's reliving the horrors of what happened, of the genocide of the Green Martians, and she just feels like she's overwhelmed with guilt, and and she just wanted to be the wanted to be Martian Manhunter's friend, just as a means to make him feel less lonely, and as part of trying to atone for, I guess, atone, and even though she was trying to help Green Martians escape. And it was very beautiful, well acted scene, and you can kind of get why they were in their human forms the whole time. Like, you never would have been able to see them emote as much, and it was all everything was all CGI. And they finally make peace with one another, but it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger in which Megan warns John about the white Martians coming. They know where she is, and that they're going to be arriving on Earth, and next week's episode looks like it's going to be exciting. It's kind of like they're sort of doing their own version of The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, in a sense, just because it looks like everybody's like trapped inside the DEO with the white Martian, and he disguises himself as one of the characters, and so it's kind of a guessing game as to which one he's going to keep changing into. So, pretty good episode. The stuff with, I think this is my favorite appearance of Livewire thus far. But I guess because I don't know, something about the show being on CBS just made her episodes feel like underwhelming in a little bit. But let me know what you guys think of the episode. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. I know I haven't done my reviews on episodes from last week of Flash, Legends, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Arrow, but the thing is, like, because it also clumped together on the course of 2 nights, then it's thrown off my schedule. I'll try to put it up within the next 24 hours. If not, I'll just might have to review last week's episodes and this week's episodes of their respective shows. Like Flash will do my Flash review may cover 2 episodes, my Legends review will cover 2 episodes, and so on. So just be on the lookout for that, and you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.